Infernal shrines. For sure. I think I'm healing. Based on, look at this one chunk of hair here. Like, this one rebellious piece of hair is really bothering me. Stay in, raid. It's not long enough. There's somebody on the enemy team named Fupa. Oh, that's awesome. So what are we going to play on Shrines? Nox, what healer should we play on Infernal Shrines? What do you think? We could play Anduin. We could play Alexstrasza. She's pretty good here. Let's show Alexstrasza and go from there. I think it'd be fun to be a dragon. Trogger was a dragon. Maxon Rabbit was a dragon. I try to pick you up with. So Nova, one thing you can do if he's sitting, if you go up behind him and like lift his chest, he'll sit up like this. And then I don't know, it's really cute, but I don't think Nox would do that. Can I lift you? It's like no. Remember you from way back in Rank Win. Yeah, I did that sometimes. I did that from time to time. I dabbled. Not no mo. Speaking of Nova, he got a new toy. Do you want to see it? I'm gonna show it to you anyway. So, look, it's like a, it's like it's made of wood, but it's also like a chew toy. You can see little pieces of it coming off and see all his spit. He is really into it. It was on sale. I don't want to pick this early. If I have to pick this early, I'll do another.
The wait is over.
There's so many ways I could answer that question. All right, I gotta switch. Why did that go away? All of Squadron was canceled. Not in like, cancel's not the right word because that carries a different meaning these days. It was taken off of the air due to budget and financial reasons by the higher ups in TGN. It's a good way to put that. Probably. Nova might still be chewing that toy. He was when I came upstairs. He was going to town on it still. He's very happy with it. He wants to consume. Nova only consume. Thank you. My shirt has Mario on it. Thank you, Scarborough. So yeah, we went to the Renaissance Festival. The weather was really nice. It was only like 75, so we went outside. I ate a hot dog. It was good. A goddamn hot dog. Max also has a toy. It's a furry toy with stuffing that he's been ripping to pieces gleefully. Did you buy anything nerdy? No, the only thing any of us bought was food. We were tempted to buy many items, but we didn't. We only bought food. Everything's very expensive. I mean, obviously you're paying for handcrafted, one-of-a-kind goods, but also, holy guacamoles, they're expensive. What's this?
Ready for action.
I mean, I'm not against people charging a premium price for high-quality materials, the cost of their time and expertise, the handcrafted one-of-a-kind, all that costs money, but like, I'm a poor hoe, so I'm not buying that. And even the food's super expensive too. It's like fucking $8 for a hot dog.
Combat begins shortly. Your failure will likely follow.
Yeah, there was like a dress. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, it looked a lot like Arwen's dress, specifically. images, it looks like she has a couple different outfits, so we gotta find the right outfit. It looked like this outfit of hers. It looked like this dress a lot, and it had full sleeves, and it was like all velvet, the whole thing. It was really pretty, and it was like $700.
2, 1. Now try to entertain me.
$700. But it was a floor-length velvet dress with like full sleeves, and I'm like, okay, all right. And then they'll tailor it on site for you, and it's like, okay, I get it, but also, I look like the kind of hoe who spends $700 on a dress. The answer is no.
Excellent healing.
Decision TV. Hello. He just got owled right in the zone.
First blood.
Yeah, that's true. If I had Saudi oil baron Jeffrey Bezos money, I would buy all the $700 Ren Fair dresses, but I don't. He's coming back. It's, yeah, there we go. There were some people in costumes that were so good, like full plate mail, just like really cool. There was one guy who did medieval Bucky from the Avengers. So he had like a cool plate mail arm for the Bucky arm. I don't know, it was really good. There was a whole bunch of really good costumes. I think people haven't had anything better to do, so there were more people in costume than usual. There was one girl who is it from League of Legends? Is it Katarina? The redhead with the big scar? Is that Katarina? I think that's Katarina, but there's a lot of cool cosplay. Ow! I've been pushed. Don't push me, sir. Oh yeah, there was some cowboys. There was some the dudes from like 300 from Sparta. Right. You can cosplay as anything at the Renaissance Festival. You don't have to be period accurate. You follow your dreams, right? Bunches of furries, tons of furries in full fursuits, right? What's up, John the Gamer? Tons of furries. There's one scary furry. I don't know if he was a dragon or what, but his face, his big mascot suit head was actually terrifying, and I was like, scary furry.
Activate the shrine, defeat its guardians, and the Punisher will be ours.
I can't say that I've seen that, Scarboros. Somebody's going in the Hogger suit. There is a cosplayer who has an amazing Hogger cosplay, like furry mascot suit. He used to go to BlizzCon. If you search for Hogger cosplay on the Googles, it'll come right up, and it's like insanely good. Blow your minds. Similar to the guy who has the crazy good ETC cosplay. Same idea, but Hog. I'm gonna go do a tip-tappy here. Yeah, tip-tap-tap. And then we're gonna heal. So far, so good on the re-engage here. Okay, I thought he was gonna come up here. Debated by Mephisto, being Mephisto. I like binding heal. Haven't pulled anybody. I haven't utilized my D, the leap of faith. I was thinking about it on Cassia there, but it just never, the moment wasn't right. Timing wasn't ripe. But I am gonna out this light well. I always move the light well to 2 in case I'm gonna take inner focus, because I prefer to have inner focus on 1. I was wondering why I moved it to 2. I don't know about all this, but I have rooted my father, but he is persistent in his chase of me. I don't appreciate it. Almost too much chase, Varian. Just like that time you jumped off a boat to fight a giant demon. It's too much. It's too much. We are still in it here. We are not afraid, apparently. Soaking? I don't know her. Only fight. I am so... never have I been so... Kai was invented for this moment. I must leave, teammates.
I think we could use some mercenaries on our side. Try not to die before I arrive.
I must go get the mana, or else I will perish. Right? If Varian had just taken taunt, he would have been fine in that cinematic, but he had to go twin blades. And he was trying to like 1v 600 all those demons. And that one big demon, that was like a map objective. You can't solo that, Varian. But the wind blades went to his head, made him crazy. As Gul'dan was turning him, disenchanting him into dust, he was probably like, I made space! Ragnaros, I'm going to soak. Ragnaros warns this area is dangerous. Ragnaros has died. That's okay. You did your best, Rag. Honestly, you're doing the right thing. Varian's dying breath. Last words were, what the fuck, Greymane? No follow-up? I might be able to get him. You come this way, man. Where's my healer, GG? Yeah, I wanted to grab you, Cassia, but I was also stunned. Alas, I could not. But it's alright. Cooldown 1 HP noobs. Things Varian would actually say, not the inspiring stuff he says in cinematics. No.
It is time. Defeat the Shrine's Guardians.
Just GG.
Loose the Punisher upon our foe.
Oh, no, Maker pushed him out of my light bomb! Hey, Maker, by the way. It's alright. It's fine. Everything's fine. Fine. He wanted to help me. Like, I should be appreciative of the gesture, right? He saw I was getting dove, and he's like, I will help the healer. So I should appreciate the thought. But, like, also, he would have... I had the light bam. By the time Varian died, he was a nice boy, but he was kind of toxic for a while in there. Read the Varian book Wolfheart if you want, but he's kind of toxic for most of that book. He's kind of like most Varian players, TBH. I'm gonna take speed of... Oh, yes. Oh, I walked into that. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. He wanted to peel. That's why I said the thought that counts, right? He was thinking of helping. What are you doing over there, my guy? What are you... Why? Now I'm gonna die. Remember that time I died for Murden for no reason? Pepperidge Farms remembers. He changed when he got abducted. He changed after he was abducted. Well, it's a long story with Varian, right? So Varian kind of has hated the Horde, like, since he was a child, but you also can't blame him, right? Because Varian was a youth in Stormwind when Garona betrayed his dad and stabbed his dad to death in front of him. And then the Horde invades Stormwind and burns it to the ground and kills most of the people in it. He was there for that. And he was like, what was he, like 13, I think? So that's gonna make quite an impression on you. And then he gets evacuated to Lordaeron. He becomes pals with Arthas. Arthas is like, I think 9 or 10 at the time, right? So he's just a bab. They become pals, and then they're there for like a couple years, and then Varian gets shipped back to Stormwind to take it back from the Horde and rebuild and everything. And that goes mostly okay until the whole kerfuffle with the House of Nobles, and they don't pay the Stonemasons Guild, and then the Stonemasons Guild's riot, and then his wife gets killed with a brick in the street, so that's a little traumatic, and then he becomes like a single dad. So he's got that going on for him. And then he gets abducted by Onyxia and has his soul ripped in two, and he has to deal with being a gladiator slave and fighting for the death in the Horde gladiator pit, and then getting his soul smooshed back together and dealing with the unbridled rage of the one half of his soul that was free for a little while. He's got all that going on. I'm gonna take Inner Foci, I think, and I'm gonna use it right now. I was trying to press R2. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bomb myself and then drop a light well, but I died, so I didn't get to. How much cocaine fueled this story? Probably a bunch. You'd have to ask Chris Metzen, though, because he wrote most of it. But wait, there's more. So the book Wolfheart takes place after Cataclysm, maybe right before Cataclysm. I'm trying to remember, but it's around the Cataclysm time because it handles the introduction of the Worgen to the Alliance. So the Gilneas was part of the Alliance originally, the original, like, Eastern Kingdoms only alliance. And then when the Scourge happens, Lordaeron dips and they build that big ass wall, you know, the Greymane wall, and then they don't come out. Like, they're just like, fuck all y'all, and you're undead. Got this wall, we don't give a shit. And then Lordaeron gets nuked by the undead. Arthas kills his dad. Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff happens, right? Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne happens. And Lordaeron is hiding behind their wall for all of this. Oh. Alright, I guess. I'm gonna die again. I have the light well down before this. That bomb was... Yeah. He'd run away with it. I didn't think he'd run away with it. Okay. So anyway, pretty much everybody after this point hates Gilneas. All the other humans hate Gilneas for abandoning them. But nobody's seen them since the wall. So they hate them, but it's not like they, you know, they don't talk. They don't email or anything. Until Cataclysm, when the Greymane wall gets broken by the Cataclysm, right? An earthquake breaks it, and then Sylvanas and the undead go in, and they're going to take over Gilneas City, and they find out everybody are Worgen now. That was exciting news, right? And then the Night Elves bail out the Worgen, and the Night Elves, because they feel responsible for the Worgen existing, because that's a druid thing. So anyway, when the Night Elves bring all of the leftover Gilneans back to Darnassus, Varian is not cool with it. Varian's like, nah, fuck them Worgen. Because the Worgen ditched the Alliance during Warcraft 3. He doesn't want them back. And he thinks Greymane is a coward, and he calls Greymane names, and he doesn't want to be friends with them. I don't know why I just pressed chastise there. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Varian is not cool with the Worgen joining the Alliance. Also, you get literally none of this in the actual gameplay. You have to read a book for all of this. Just in the regular gameplay, and WoW, the Worgen are just there at Cataclysms. They're just around, and it's fine. But Varian, he's not okay with this. He's really pissed at Greymane. He doesn't want to be their friend. But what happened is Garrosh, because Garrosh is still around at this time, right? And he's the war chief of the Horde, decides he is going to invade the Night Elves to take over Ashenvale to get more wood for the Horde. A tale as old as time. The Horde invading Ashenvale for lumber. Like, name a more iconic duo. So his plan to do this is he goes back to Northrend, because this is Cataclysm. This is right after Wrath of the Lich King. He goes to Cataclysm, and you know those big, giant centaur dudes? I forget what they're called, but they're just giant centaurs, basically, and they're like gray, and they're big old manitars, or whatever they're called. He gets a bunch of those. And the way he gets them is he finds a bunch of baby manitars. I'm just going to call them manitars, because I forgot what they're called. He gets a bunch of baby manitars, and apparently manitars speak Common, Orcish, English. Manitars speak, because Garrosh threatens the baby manitars, and he's like, I will kill your kids if you don't fight for the Horde. And this works, because the manitars speak English, or whatever. So he's got a bunch of the manitars, and he's going to use the magnetar. I was really close. I was just memeing calling them manitars. That's funny that I was that close. But he's got a bunch of them, and he's going to use them to help him invade Ashenvale. We're going to die here, for sure. This was dumb. We should not have tried to go core there. Okay, moving on. So he's got a bunch of them. He puts them on a boat, brings them over, and he uses them to attack Ashenvale. And then the Worgen, who have been chilling with the Night Elves, are going to help the Night Elves defend Ashenvale. And the Worgen are werewolves, and they're super scary, and they beat up a bunch of the Horde. And the Manitars ditch Garrosh. They're like, fuck this isn't worth it, fuck them kids, and leave, and Garrosh loses there. And Varian is also there, participating, and he sees the Worgen fighting with such ferocity, and they're wolves, and he's got the wolf spirit inside of him. Remember his whole dual personality thing? The angry, angsty side of him is Logosh, the spirit of the wolf, right? So he sees the wolf in them and in him, and sees them using their ferocity to defend the Alliance here. And he decides he likes them, and they become friends. They hunt a deer. Him and Greymane hunt a deer together, and they have like a bro bonding moment when they hunt a deer. And it's just real cool. And he decides to let the Worgen join the Alliance. The ends. Everybody's friends now. There's some other great stuff that happens in that book. That's when Varian and Jaina have an argument, and the diss track like is great. So at the start of this book, some Night Elves are there telling Varian that Garrosh is going to invade Ashenvale, and they would really like some help. And Varian is like, we don't have enough soldiers to send any help. Basically the exact same thing that happened with Tyrande and Anduin in Battle for Azeroth, right? We just tell the same story over and over again in World of Warcraft. Original ideas, we don't got them. So anyway, the Night Elves are there. They're in the Stormwind Cathedral, and they're having like a remembrance ceremony for all of the Alliance soldiers that died in Northrend. And then afterwards, they meet these Night Elves who are like, hey, Garrosh is fucking up our shit. Can you come help? And Varian's like, no, we can't help. We don't have enough soldiers. And Jaina is trying to convince him to listen to the Night Elves and go help them. And then Varian hits her with the coldest fucking shit. Varian goes, basically, why should I listen to you? You fucked the Lich King, which is technically true, but also technically not true. But it's like, everybody gasps. Very hurtful, and he's being very mean for no reason. So then Jaina hits him back with the like, you know, everybody makes mistakes, but like, you can't blame me for that. Do you blame every human for killing your wife with a brick? She words it way better than me. It's worded way better in the book. But basically, Jaina hits him back with like, one of the stonemasons, the Defias Brotherhood, killed your wife with a brick. And you don't blame every human that you meet for your wife getting killed with a brick. You know only one human was responsible. So like, step off. Varian gets pissed. about the brick thing. He was pretty sensitive about that. We are never going to kill this Vala. And so that's why Varian decides to go personally to Darnassus, because Jaina hits him with the, well, your wife was killed with a brick. And he goes personally, and that's where he and Greymane have their bro moment where they hunt a deer, and then they go fight the Horde together, and then they become friends. It was very savage, though. It's amazing. It's in, like, the first chapter of the book. That's what happened, though. It's a paving stone, which is not exactly a brick, but is also a brick. Yeah, so the stonemasons rebuild Stormwind after the Horde, the orcs specifically, burn it to the ground and kill everybody. And then the stonemasons rebuild it, but then the nobles refuse to pay the stonemasons, so the stonemasons have a huge riot that they did all this work and they're not getting paid, they're not getting compensated, and they're all going to starve. And in this riot, for some reason, the Queen of Stormwind is out on the street in a riot, and somebody starts throwing paving stones that they use to make the street. She gets hit right in the fucking head and dies. And that's why Anduin has no mom. She's got a brain with a brick. So that's what Jaina hits Varian back with after Varian hits her with the she fucked the Lich King, which, I mean, he wasn't the Lich King at that point, okay? Yeah, but also not exactly. How are you supposed to know while you're boning a dude that 10-ish years from them he's gonna become a genocidal maniac? How could she know? She's a fortune teller. She's a mage. It's different. But anyway, that book. Varian is a dick for most of that book. That's what started this conversation, was saying that Varian's not a dick. He was a dick. Like, a lot. He spends most of that book being a huge jerk. I have been silenced for 400 years. He spends most of that book being a jerk. He starts off being a jerk to Jaina, then he's a jerk to Tyrande, then he's a jerk to Greymane, who may or may not deserve it, but he's still a jerk. But that book is actually the start of Varian's turnaround to when he stops being a jerk all the time. That's the start of it, when he realizes that he shouldn't hold a grudge against Greymane and lets the Worgen join the Alliance. Then Mista Pandaria happens after Cataclysm. Well, in Cataclysm, we work with Thrall, and he's like, that's kind of nice. And then Mista Pandaria happens, and Anduin teaches him more about, like, forgiveness, and blah, blah, blah. He becomes nice after that, basically. But as the start of Varian's turn, from being a dick all the time to being less of a dick most of the time, is that book. Was Gul'dan boning anyone? No! And actually, so there was a comic that came out, was it before Legion, or was it before Warlords of Draenor? I think for Legion. But it's about Gul'dan, and when Gul'dan became evil. And part of the reason Gul'dan is evil is because he couldn't get a girlfriend. So Gul'dan, before he became a warlock, wanted to be a shaman, but he was, like, physically deformed. And because the orcs are all about, like, hyper machoism, he was, like, shunned by his people. He was